Ever noticed how almost every classic cartoon character, from the most famous mouse in the world to your favorite wisecracking rabbit, wears a pair of crisp white gloves? To understand why, you have to look at how early 2D animation actually worked. Creating the illusion of movement required artists to produce thousands of unique drawings, playing them back in rapid sequence to make a character walk, run, or jump. A single minute of screen time meant generating upwards of 1,400 individual frames. Every facial expression and body movement had to be traced and retraced by hand. An early animation studio operated like a high-pressure manufacturing plant. Output volume and speed dictated whether a studio survived, making any complicated, time-consuming detail a major liability to the pipeline. Animators optimized their designs for this pace by building characters out of simple, repeatable geometric shapes, perfectly round heads, and fluid, rubber hose limbs that lacked complex joints. While these simplified bodies were efficient to animate, the process reached a critical failure point at the ends of the arms. Drawing a realistic human hand was maddeningly difficult. Hands are packed with biological complexity, multiple joints per finger, varying knuckle heights, and fingernails. Keeping all of those proportions consistent while the hand rotated through three-dimensional space was a recurring nightmare for the staff. If an artist spent just 2 extra minutes struggling to properly align a thumb and forefinger on a single frame, that delay multiplied by thousands of frames, resulting in lost production time and mounting costs. The anatomy of the human hand directly threatened the financial viability of the entire medium. They needed to draw hands faster, or they simply couldn't afford to produce the work. Beyond the production logistics, there was a design problem. What happens when you attach a biologically accurate 5-fingered human hand to a character made of circles and tubes? The contrast is jarring. Attaching highly detailed, anatomically correct hands to simplified, abstract character bodies creates a severe visual mismatch. Because the hand becomes the most visually dense part of the drawing, the viewer's eye is pulled away from the character's face and expressions, breaking the immersion of the scene. Without the gloves, these early cartoon characters were left with bare, fleshy fingers that looked distinctly out of place on their stylized animal frames. Drawing realistic hands failed on both fronts. It bogged down the production schedule and created an aesthetic distraction that looked unnatural on screen. The solution was to hide the problematic anatomy behind a simple, solid-colored garment. This provided a mechanical shortcut. By covering the hands, animators eliminated the need to draw individual knuckles, tendons, or fingernails, replacing the intricate biological structure with a few smooth, continuous curves. Artists could now render a hand as a single, unified shape. It became much easier to maintain a recognizable silhouette as the character moved, without having to track every tiny anatomical node. A hand that once required a dozen distinct lines to look correct could now be rendered in a few simple strokes to outline a padded glove. The iconic white glove began as a ruthless efficiency hack, specifically calculated to push drawings through the production pipeline as quickly as possible. This time saver came with a secondary benefit. The gloves provided a clean, finished look that instantly resolved the visual awkwardness of the naked cartoon hands. The efficiency was so undeniable that the design rule stuck. Even as the industry grew and transitioned into television production using early computer-aided systems, the gloves remained the standard uniform for character design. On the low-resolution screens of the era, the bright white shapes against the characters' dark bodies also provided high visual contrast, making their hand gestures much easier for the audience to follow. By choosing to draw less detail, the animators inadvertently created a more expressive and universally recognizable visual language. Today, the animation process is defined by advanced drawing hardware. The physical friction of paper and ink has been replaced by high-definition tablets and digital pens. Modern software can automate much of the repetitive detail that once slowed production, freeing artists from the same technical bottlenecks that plagued the early studios. Despite this technological freedom, modern characters often still wear those same white gloves. It has become a stylistic homage to the founding rules and limitations of the medium. The white cartoon glove is proof that an artist's practical limitations can define the visual identity of an entire industry for a century.